Yeah, that's gonna end well, dude. That was awesome. You had someone once make this animated series for you, Disney, and you decide to do the Dial of Destiny instead? Like, God, you guys suck. Uh, Good evening, guys. Hope you all had a good work week, and yeah, I'm sure you guys can hear the music. We're talking about Indiana Jones again. Specifically, we are playing Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine. So, one of the bigger games to come out last year was, of course, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. A really good Indiana Jones game, not necessarily an amazing game by the standards of the rest of the industry, but still a really good game, one of the better games to come out last year. So, considering that I looked at an Indiana Jones game when I first started doing the showcase, a lot of you guys probably expect me to cover the Great Circle at some point. And it's something I'm going to do in due time, but there are a lot of other Indiana Jones games to look at. Last time we went on an adventure with Dr. Jones, it was with Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures for the Super Nintendo. A perfectly serviceable, if extremely difficult 2D platformer that had the same level of quality as something like Super Star Wars. But there are lots of other Indiana Jones games aside of this. One of the more famous examples would be the point-and-click adventure games by LucasArts. Probably the most famous among them being the Fate of Atlantis, which was also adapted into a really good comic book by Dark Horse. The guy behind Fate of Atlantis was ready to do another point-and-click adventure game, but after seeing the success that Tomb Raider was having at the time, he thought it'd be a really cool idea to apply Indiana Jones to that, and, why not? I mean, Tomb Raiders is heavily rooted in the same cliches that inspired Indiana Jones, so applying that same gameplay to the Indiana Jones franchise made sense. The game was released, though it got a very muted response when it came out. This is primarily because it was mostly restricted to the PC, which is where you go to play stuff like first-person shooters and the like. If you want a 3D platformer, you want to go to the consoles. There was an N64 version of the Infernal Machine, created by Factor 5 at that. And a lot of people say that's actually the superior version of the game. However, it ended up selling really poorly due to the fact that LucasArts entered into an exclusivity deal with Blockbuster for the game. So it was a very hard game to come by, and now it's one of the more expensive N64 games. I actually thought about getting that version instead of the PC version, which is what we're playing tonight. But it was just way too expensive, and I wasn't in the position to spend that kind of money for it. Maybe in the future, but not right now. But since then, the Infernal Machine has sort of slipped into obscurity, though the people who have played it do tend to have positive things to say about it. And I've certainly got my praises for it too, some big issues with it as well, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just go ahead and get started with the stream itself. As to how I'm going to be playing this game, I'm going to be playing the PC version of the game via Steam. It's also available on GOG if you'd rather go that route. Yeah, this is the easiest way to play the game right now, and from what I found, it tends to work just fine, so you shouldn't have any issues getting it running. And establishing right out of the gate that this takes place after the World Wars, the game's director stated that he felt the Nazis were an overused enemy for Indiana Jones, so he really wanted the game to see Indy fighting something other than them for once, which I'm in agreement with. While Nazis are a lot of fun to beat the hell out of, variety is, the spice of life, as they say.
Time to go to work.
And straight into the gameplay too, no title screen or anything. Alright, so as usual, the first thing we're going to talk about are the controls, and right out of the gate we kind of got a problem because this game uses tank controls, or as I like to call them, the Sonic's ass control. So, during the age of the 3D revolution, developers had a hard time wrapping their head around camera controls. So a lot of them would try to come up with a solution to that problem, and the one most people came to was to just, have the camera always looking at the character's back and have them move forward, which is why so many games from the time had tank controls and the like. Tomb Raider was like that too, and I can think of several other games from the time period that had that same control scheme. As a result, the controls in Indiana Jones in the Infernal machine are a little clunky, but it is something you get used to. So in order to jump, you hit the square button. If you jump from a standstill, you just come straight up, but we need to jump over this gap here, so push forward on the joystick. Do a little hop. If you're up against a wall here, you just push the jump button, he'll climb. Not difficult to really wrap your head around. It does feel very automated though not in a good way like the Uncharted games, I would say. It also makes for a really slow pace too. I hope this doesn't make for a boring showcase for you guys. Now what do we got here?
What have we here?
Looks like some coins. Oop. Didn't mean to do that. Walk through here. So if you walk up to a ledge, if you're just walking, you won't walk off it. But if you hold the run button, you'll make Indy drop, which is smart. Tomb Raider 2 did that as well. You make Indy crawl as well. Okay, now we got a gap I'm not sure I can clear with a regular jump, so I'm going to take a few steps back and pray that I go in a straight line, which is a little difficult with the joystick for some reason. Geronimo! Ah, made it. Alright, got another gap here. Let's see if we can do the same thing. Gongola! Whew!
That thing looks whippable.
For the record, that's not Harrison Ford doing the voice. I'm not sure who's doing the voice acting here, but now I need to get up there. I need to use my whip. So cycle through my inventory, get the whip out. And when you're at a spot you can use it, you push the action button. And now you can climb up the whip. Again, very automated, but it works. What? Ah, snake! Get the gun out, Indy. Supposed to be afraid of snakes. Die, you little... Yeah, so when you're close to a target, Indy will naturally aim at it, but as you saw, it's a little finicky. The N64 version, one of the improvements I read it has is a Z targeting system, kind of like in the Zelda series. And having played this game from start to finish, I can tell you right now, that ability would be a godsend at certain points in this game, especially during combat.
Hey.
Just feels like a very old school platformer. It's funny, with the newer Tomb Raider games, a lot of people detest that they ended up being so close to the Uncharted games in regards to gameplay. And I've always found that statement a little silly because, like, what Uncharted does is just better for what Tomb Raider was trying to do. And you can sort of see why here, just having to constantly stop and reorient your character instead of having the two analog sticks dictate your character movements and camera. It just is better for the experience. It also makes for a better paced experience as well, better combat, so... Yeah, the original Tomb Raider games might have been groundbreaking for the time, but as Derek of Stop Skeletons from Fighting has always said, get that reboot and don't look back, and I agree 100%.
Aha.
God. And this guy had a really bad day. Cannonball. And it looks like there's some tunnels under this waterfall. Why don't we take a look? Actually, some pretty good swimming controls for the time, too. This is actually pretty smooth, all things considered. And I like how he puts his hat back on after he gets out of the water. Would be cooler if, you know, he'd lose it and then the hat would blow back to his feet like it does in the movies. My hat has actually done that a few times in the course of my life as well. I lost it for one reason or another, but it always seems to come back to me. Alright, just gotta make sure there's something underneath me, because I don't want to end up like that guy down there. It is fun to explore and find these treasures, I must admit. Makes you feel like Indiana Jones. For fortune and glory! It does feel like the level design here is designed with Indy's movement in mind, so... Yeah, they did do a really good job with this.
Funny how I didn't spot this before. If this is the prize, I'll lose my grant for sure. Where are the priceless artifacts? The gilded idols? The crowns of kings?
Ooh, that's loud.
Good news never travels that fast. Better get up there.
Well, I think the atmosphere of this level is good with the sound of the animals and the waterfall. Some music definitely would have been nice here. Yeah, now doesn't that make you think of Uncharted? Alright, so I guess we're jumping over there. Back it up. Okay, if you're ever unsure if you're going to make a jump, I find it's always best to save. Do quick save. I wish there was a quick save function. Okay, here we go. Gongola! Made it. Like, I know I'm making a big deal of jumps like that, but you never know if you're gonna make it or not, since you can't really suss out the distance. You're just kind of guessing and praying for the best. I can. There's a snake up there. Can I get him from down here? From button. I cannot. Yeah. I'm with Indy. I hate snakes too. Back off! God, I hate snakes. I'm not just doing that because that's the time-honored characteristics of Dr. Joe. I honestly hate snakes. They're one of the few things that terrify me. And what do we have here?
Oh no. What now? Sophia Hapgood.
Hello, Indy. Been a while.
I'll say. What brings you out west?
I think this character
Psychic
appeared in The
premonition
Fate of
about the
Atlantis,
treasures
but
I
I'm
should
not
have
sure
found?
about that.
My, look at these wonderful potsherds.
It's the new thinking in archaeology. Find some worthless debris, analyze it, understand prehistory. Kind of noble,
And
don't you
Indy's
think?
head is
There's an iron
huge,
curtain
dude.
coming down on Europe, Indy. The Russians are taking over.
I read the papers.
Want a real chance to be noble? We need your help.
Uh-huh. Who's we?
When I joined during the war, it was the OSS. Now President Truman calls us the Central Intelligence Agency.
Is that what you're up to these days? Soviet sabotage? Atomic secrets?
Don't be silly. We've got whole battalions for that. It's my job to worry about more, unusual activity. Such as this dig site on the Euphrates River, south of Baghdad.
Babylon.
Remember your Bible? That's where mortals raised the Tower of Babel to invade heaven.
Well, you know, this does look like the ruins of Etemenanke, the ziggurat often identified with the tower.
Very good, Dr. Jones. You're looking at the brainchild of one Gennady Volodnikov of the Leningrad Physics Institute. He thinks there's some truth to the biblical legend.
Isn't he a godless communist?
He's a physicist who studies manifolds and hyperspace. Quirky theoretical stuff.
Now, what's a guy like that doing in Babylon?
Not sure. All we really know is he thinks the atom bomb is a joke.
Then why isn't the world laughing?
Indy, suppose the tower housed some deadly force no one else had ever heard of. Something as dangerous as nuclear fission.
And the Babylonians tore it down for reasons not discussed in the good book.
Exactly.
It's an amusing theory, but as you can see, I've got troubles of my own.
You don't think I flew out here from Washington just to relieve your boredom, I hope. This came from the Russian dig site.
Somebody made a mistake. This looks like part of a steam engine, maybe a locomotive from the last century.
There's no mistake. We've dated the thing. It's 2,600 years old.
Really?
Huh.
Look at that little wheel spin. How'd you find it?
Come on, Indy, we're the CIA. We have spies.
It's not just Indy's lanky form that's sort of head tilting as well. His head is humongous as well. Definitely some proportion issues going on here. And see, that's what I meant. It's kind of hard to make Indy go in a straight line with the joysticks. Wonder if the controls are just as clunky in the N64 version. Okay, so what's around here? Well, I'm seeing a communist logo, so I'm gonna get my guns out. I guess you can't hear me in there. Yeah!
The Ministerstva hereby reminds Comrade Dr. Volodnikov that socialist theory disavows the existence of supernatural powers.
Those doctrinaire apparatchiki. What is it? They think I'm out here searching for God?
Possibly. I'm just decoding the message, sir.
I'm
That's some pretty
searching
good
for
voice
Marduk,
acting for the
a
time,
creature
too, I
the
gotta admit.
Babylonians worshipped as a god, but he doesn't live in heaven, just on another plane.
What kind of plane, sir? Soviet or American?
Not airplane, you idiot. It's another dimension of reality. The Ethereum.
Be careful, Professor. When questions of ideology arise, they often conceal doubts about methods and results.
Inform Ministerstwa we're making excellent progress, all according to plan. We know the true story is waiting in the room of the tablets. That's where we'll find out what happened to the tower. And to the machine Marduk inspired. We are close. It's a matter of days. And damn the ideology!
What a fat bastard. Alright, so I guess I gotta chase after him. That's slow. The camera could at least pan down to at least give you a sense of the height you're at. The Uncharted games do that a lot, and it's really effective to give you a sense of the danger that you're putting
Quite
Drake
an
in.
operation the Russians have going here. Makes me jealous. The site is crawling with guards. I better steer clear.
Definitely some sound mixing issues too. Like whenever the cutscene starts playing, it's just absurdly loud. Put my pistola away. That works. Just in case there are other spiders around. Your revolver has unlimited ammo, so... Hahaha.
Стой на месте!
I wish the combat in this game was a little bit better, though. It's just a little too easy to take damage. Sounds like there's someone else here. Using up all my health just so I stand a chance. Can I get this guy's gun?
A gun.
Let's see if this works better than my revolver. I guess that would be a Makarov? Ah, Scorpion! What in the world, dude? Can I really...
Oh, great.
Stay away. Creepy crawler. You little bastard.
Their trucks go right through the checkpoint. That's my passport.
Aha!
Uh-oh.
Hey, иди!
Aw, man. And unfortunately, I haven't been saving, so... once again, I'm screwed by not saving my effing game. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and call it there, because I don't feel like getting all the way back there, so... Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine. It is kind of fun to mess around with, but... You know, it is very much a product of its time. These controls are just so antiquated, so clunky. Like, I know I said this when I was talking about the Great Circle, but if you want a really good Indiana Jones game, just play one of the Uncharted games. Or play the Great Circle. That's a great game too. Or play Tomb Raider. Like, it's not hard to get that Indiana Jones experience if you know what you're looking for. like the Infernal Machine, it's not a terrible game. Again, the big issue are the controls and definitely the combats. Like the shooting in this game is just awful by all accounts. But yeah, if you can get into the platforming and deal with the controls and everything, it's not a terrible game. It's just there's no point in playing this today. That's all there really is to it.